focusing on enhancing e-cooking adoption through digital engagement. And on the call, we have very, I would say, prominent faces that we've worked with in the sector. All right, I think I have some people to also admit. I'm sorry for this. Yeah, but Agnes, if you can also help just admit some of the people who are joining while I'm speaking, that would be great. I'll appreciate that. Yeah, so what I was saying is on the call, we have very prominent faces, some of the people that we've worked with in the sector who are going to speak to us on this topic. So for today, basically, our program is, I'm going to do an introduction, which I'm doing now. My name is Siproso Cheng. I'm a research associate at Nimoh East Africa, supporting MECS program in Kenya, and also convening the eCooking CoP dialogues. All right, so the next phase will be to discuss the topic of today, which is enhancing e-cooking adoption through digital engagement. And we are going to have Agnes present to us this. This was a study that was done under the eCAP program in collaboration with Kenya Power and the MECS program. And then later on, we'll have Miss Okova Kagia, who is also a communication specialist at Kenya Power, who is going to show us this new platform that they've developed and how that is going to be influencing communication and marketing of e-cooking innovations and basically creating awareness within the space. And then we'll proceed to having a Q&A section and then closing remarks. Yeah, so I think majority of us on this call already the usual people that we have on the eCooking CoP, but just in case we have new members joining us today, the eCooking Community of Practice is a platform. So we have this platform, we have a WhatsApp platform, and also we have these monthly convenings where we discuss the emerging opportunities between the clean cooking sector and the e-cooking and the electricity access sector. So basically we discuss studies, research that has been done around this area, and also opportunities that are coming up. These convenings are done in collaboration with Nimoh East Africa, Kenya Power, CCAK, African Center for Technology Studies, and we are supported under the MECS program. So like I've mentioned, this session is going to be focusing on yeah, let me just admit one more person. Yeah, so this session is going to be focusing on enhancing e-cooking adoption through digital engagement platform. And like I said, our speakers today are very common faces, some of the people we've worked with and collaborated with. And the reason why this topic is really crucial for us is basically we are living in an age of digital era where a majority of us are using our smartphones. We're spending a lot of time on internet, on social platforms. And there's a lot of knowledge that we are gathering through these platforms. So it is really important that whenever we are implementing some of these projects, we take advantage of such platforms to market and create awareness. So this topic today is really important as majority of us are using this platform, and we've seen how impactful it has been on our work. And so it is just good to hear from people who have used this platform in a long time, especially our first speaker, who is going to give us some of the nuggets and how to use this platform for our own benefit. So I will proceed to introduce our speaker for our first speaker. So our first speaker is going to be Agnes Kalionge. She's the CEO and founder of Jikoni Magic, which is an online platform. And she's also the CEO of Kisambara Ventures Limited. She's very passionate about clean cooking and has been dedicating a lot of her time creating awareness and bringing people on board within the e-cooking space and clean cooking space in general. She's an accomplished social media marketer with over 15 years of experience. But because she's also on this call, I know I cannot speak to her experience as much as she will do. So I'm going to give her an opportunity to introduce herself. And then before I do that, I will also want to introduce our second speaker, though she's going to speak after Agnes, but it's good to know that she's also on this call and she's going to be speaking to us today. So our second speaker is Mrs. Okova Kagia, a digital communication specialist at Kenya Power. She's a digital media strategist and a marketing communication expert, and she has amassed over 18 years of experience in this space. and has worked in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Mozambique, Rwanda, Mauritius, and Ghana. Her expertise has been honed through an end-to-end management of numerous marketing projects spanning different brands, categories such as NGO, government parastatals, finance, insurance, and telecom industry vertically. So she's also on this call, but she'll come later on. So we'll give her an opportunity to introduce herself during our session. All right, that said, I would like now to welcome Ms. Agnes to take us through her presentation and also give herself a proper introduction. Ms. Agnes, if you're on the call, please take it up. Sorry.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. And I'm not echoing because I have both my phone and computer on. Am I echoing, Cyprus?
No. You are very clear. That's fine, please.
Okay. And that's okay. So Cyprus has done a good job of introducing me. I will just add a bit here and there, and then I can just go straight to my presentation, which is now going to be like the next slide that is talking about Jikoni Magic. So I am the CEO, like she said, and founder of Jikoni Magic and Kisambara Ventures. Now, these two are duly, what is it called? They are duly registered. And I am also a chartered marketer, like she said, 15 years of experience, both online and offline. And also, what I can say about Kisambara and Jikoni Magic, now where the divide comes in is Kisambara Ventures is now the business arm. It's the one that goes after all these projects that I do. It's the one that goes after contracts, all those things. And then Jikoni Magic is the one that brings all what we do behind the scenes to life, immortalizes that, so to speak, through photography, through videography. Yeah, and I've also worked with different brands as Jikoni Magic in the clean cooking space, where we've developed recipe books. We've also done videos for the brands that are in the clean cooking sector. The work can be found online. And we also do a lot of live cooking demonstrations because as Kenyans, we believe that, like we say, evidence kwa kalatas, meaning for the people who are here and maybe you're not Kenyan, and I just want to put it into perspective that seeing is believing, touching is believing. So food is cooked in front of you in real time. You get to taste it. You look at the energy meter as it's moving and you're convinced and you carry your thing home. So that's what we do as well. So that's enough of an introduction. I think I'm just going to now jump straight into the rest of the presentation. So I'm going to turn off the video so that we can continue with that. So now, the project had two main components, meaning that, okay, let me start by first introducing what the project was about, and then I talk about this slide, just for the people who've never actually gotten to read about it. So the task was to bring the project to life by using two components, and that was to position it as an aspirational solution for people who are modern everyday cooks. And by saying aspirational solution, we meant that you already have something, but you want to achieve, you want to aspire to own something that is loftier, something that is better than what you already have. And maybe sometimes you can't do this, maybe because of maybe economic factors and all that, but that is what we were going for, position it as an aspirational thing. And then the second component, what is it? Oh, there's someone talking. Okay, so for the second component, it was now to address the misperceptions that people have. They might be owning that appliance, they might be owning that gadget. However, they are not using it to the maximum that they would be able to because of certain things that we already have ingrained in us, like, for example, EPCs are just for boiling foods, or perhaps electricity is expensive. So we were also tasked with misspelling that notion. Next slide, Cipros, please. Okay, so now to achieve the first part where we were supposed to, just a moment, where we were supposed to position it as an aspirational thing that people are supposed to, you know, have loftier thoughts and all that. We did it in 3 ways or 3 phases. We first had controlled cooking tests. We had cook-off competitions, a cook-off competition, and we also had the impact stories. Now, for the controlled cooking tests, that will be explained later. In fact, every bullet point that I've put here will be explained later. And we decided to use videography because we felt like this is consumed better and easier by people. I know for me personally, I prefer my information just given to me and packaged as a video. It explains a lot of things at one go. So we move on to the next slide. Now, the CCTs, which are the clean cooking tests, were done in collaboration with Strathmore and Picana Power, and this was a 5-day event. I won't go into much detail about the CCTs because this has already been presented by Sandra from Strathmore. It was one of the meetings that happened earlier here. And if you need more information, that can be found there. Now, what Kisambara or Jikoni Magic was tasked to do was to bring that to life in a way that the average person, the clean cooking champions, can consume it and can also disseminate it to the people they're talking to. And we decided to do this in 4 videos that now I want to explain to you. Now the next slide. Cipros, the next slide. So first off, we started with a wife and husband duo at Kenol Moranga. Now, you hear about cooking, maybe things like beans, meat, and you're told it takes maybe 50 minutes and it costs this amount of money, but you need to see it come to life practically. So in this scenario, we visited the family and the husband. Okay, here we used charcoal and electricity. Those are the 2 fuels that you are comparing. And we cooked ugali and stir-fry cabbages on the induction cooker and the charcoal jiko. And then the meat was grilled in the air fryer and on the barbecue, as you're seeing here, the grill. So at the end of it all, when we finished, we also interviewed the husband and wife to just get their perspective on how they found the whole experience and how the use of these energy efficient appliances is for them. And at the end of it all, you can see the amount of money that was consumed, both for the charcoal, which was coming to a total of 200 shillings, and the electricity was coming to 42 bob. And so let's move to the next slide of how we brought all the CCTs alive. So the next set of videos that we made, we went to a caterer and an everyday Kenyan cook. So for the caterer, there's this, when you go to Kenyan bashes, you always find the same sort of meals with a few variations here and there. So that is what we went with the caterer. And the caterer made chicken, beef stew, vegetable rice, stir-fry cabbages, and mokimo, which like never, for some reason, miss in any bash that we go to. And to measure the LPG, we used the weighing scale because that's the only way we had to measure that. We didn't have that flow meter. And so I'm so sorry, my phone is ringing. Okay, so what we did was, sorry, I'm trying to put off the phone that is ringing. The caterer, now let me get back. The caterer went ahead and cooked the meals, first of all on the charcoal, and then next on the LPG, and then of course on electricity. And this is what the consumption was when you look at the traditional ways of cooking. And at the end of it all, it costed 191 shillings to cook on the charcoal and LPG. And I would have to get for you the price of, I think it's getting cut off somewhere here in the slide, but there was also the price of the electricity that was way, way cheaper than this. I'll get that before I finish the presentation. And then the caterer, not the everyday Kenyan cook, just went for githeri, which is now the one that people have very many questions about, like, are you sure ile githeri ya gunia, when you just scoop it out when it's hard and all that, does it cook in that amount of time? Does it consume such little electricity? So this was also brought to life because the everyday Kenyan cook was just being interviewed as the video was going on. So let's go on to the next slide. And wait, before you go, Cyprus, it costed 15 shillings to cook on the in the EPC and 80 shillings because it was 1 tin of charcoal. Let's go to the next slide. Then we also decided to show people who are interested, because I'm sure it's not everybody who would not want to know how people come up with these costs. How do you actually tell us when you cook like half a kg of beans, this is how much time it takes and all that? So we did a behind the scenes video that actually brought that to light and to life. And as you can see in these images that are here on the left, it was the day for beans. And as you can see on top of the table, it's actually very intense work for those of us who've done CCTs. And this was the day for beans. And you can see how many things are on the table. And you have to cook like 3 rounds on each appliance. I think here we were using 7 appliances. Yeah, and the photo on the right, top right, was the day for chapati. You can see the way the table is full of discs of rolled out chapatis. So yeah, so we did that. And for anyone who would be interested to see what actually happens, the process behind CCTs, that is also a video that is available. We shared with Kenya Power. So I'm sure they've uploaded it. Let's go to the next slide. Now, the other part that, the other way that we decided to accomplish the first component was by having a cook-off competition. And there was a rationale behind it. What we decided to do was put out a call to apply for, to everyday Kenyan cooks. We didn't want people who are, not that there's anything wrong with them, but we just didn't want influencers. We didn't want people who had a very big following. We wanted people who, for lack of a better word, just normal people who exist on social media. They're doing their thing, they're cooking, they're going on with their lives. So we put out a call for such. And we wanted them to apply, to come off for to come to the cook-off competition that happened at Pikana Power at Electricity House. And we got quite a few people who applied for this. And let's go to the next one, Nani, Cyprus. Okay, we shouldn't have gone, but anyway, let me just explain. I thought it was going to be here. So what we did was we would post different ingredients, like for example, chicken, to be combined with something like celery. And we want to see what you're going to do with that. Send us a photo, show us at least that you've used an energy efficient appliance. We were not taking in people who would cook on gas or on charcoal. We just wanted you to use either an EPC, an air fryer, rice cooker, or an induction cooker. So those are the things we were looking at. And we ended up getting 6 of them who impressed us. But in between, there were hampers and gifts that we were giving to the people. So let's go to the next slide. So this one just shows the 6 contestants who made it to that event. And we also had judges and bloggers. During this, during this entire thing, it was intense. We never knew the amount of work that was involved and the behind the scenes things that needed to be done. It was a learning process. So we had our judges and bloggers that we engaged. So one of our judges, John Larry, very familiar to us all. And we also have Warimo. So these two, we needed people who are in the clean cooking sector so that they could come and look at it from that lens, which ordinarily bloggers who are not necessarily so much into the clean cooking sector would look at it. And then we also had Nimoh and Gatweri. Nimoh is a digital creator with the cooking, Nimoh's Kitchen, and Gatweri is from Leo Tunapika. So Leo Tunapika is just translated into what are we cooking today. So that is what her whole entire social media presence is concerned with. Let's keep going. And Asipros is going to the next slide. We did a very short interview. That's why you're seeing 2 people per each slide. And the interviews were just to get a feel of what are the judges expecting, and we communicated that to the competitors who won, and also to hype and prepare the people on social media so that they would also jump onto that bandwagon. We made 4 short and sweet videos that were not more than a minute long. And as you can see, they're all, one is for 45 seconds, 55 seconds, like that. And it was just very short, telling people this is the EPC, this is what it can do, this is the magic, this is a rice cooker, blah, blah. So all these videos can be found on the Pick and Power YouTube page. Cipros, let's go. Okay, so the competitor selection criteria, it was based basically on the creativity that they put forth, the flavor combinations, because if you've cooked for a while, someone can put up something and they're like, I cooked this and this is what I added to this food. And in your head, you can sort of even like almost taste what they're telling you they have made. And from that, you are able to make a decision. Also, they must have used an energy efficient appliance, like I said. The photo of the final dish was also very critical because we needed to see what it is you've done. We also needed to see you cooking. Maybe you've thrown in your onions, you've thrown in your yeah, you've thrown in things, and we can actually see the process. We just did not want the gadget and the final food. We needed to see you actually cooking it. If it was a video, the better. And yeah, so we ended up with the 6 contestants. One is missing. She's slightly off the frame, but she was there. And all the people who came for the competition, none of them left empty-handed. They actually got something. Let's keep going. So these are the 6 competitors. You can see we ended up with everyday Kenyan cooks, yeah, in different professions and specialties and all that. So we had food content creator, we had the private chef, we had a teacher, we had a mom of 3 who loves to cook and make earrings. We have a researcher in the clean cooking sector, and we also had a nursing student. So you can see it was a very interesting mix of people who we got to the competition. Let's keep going. Yeah, so now for the competition, very briefly, because it was a really big part, and that's why I keep going on about it. It was a really big part of this whole project. It was like the climax, the culmination of things that we had been doing. So we had the first round, we really needed to eliminate people. Eggs are the easiest and the hardest things to make in this world. If you're told here's an egg, majority of us just want to crack it, fry it, or boil it, and we eat it. We needed to see you recreate that. Just don't give us an egg, give us a pancake, give us, I don't know, some made shakshukas. It was a lot of things. So the ones who wowed the judges that you saw earlier are the ones who proceeded to round 2. And in round 2, there was a twist to the entire thing. And there was a mystery basket that they were given garden peas, that is minjis, with potatoes, broiler chicken, and butter. So we needed to see what these competitors would do with what they were given for that round. So the overall winner is the lady we've pictured here. This is Chelal, and she created 2 dishes that the judges were impressed with. And she made, like you're seeing here, the Alfredo pasta with bacon bits, and she also had, what's it called? It was a pesto. The pesto was like the highlight of her dish, and it's the one that really pulled the judges over to her side, and it tied all the dishes together. So the competition is already up on Pick and Power YouTube page. It's in part 1 and part 2. You can get to see that and how we brought that alive. So now this whole competition was to show the audience that it doesn't matter what is thrown at you. Sio lazima you always keep cooking it kwa, what's it called, the LPG or the charcoal and all that. You can also get creative and execute the same dish, tasting as phenomenal as you know it in all these energy efficient appliances. And I think, okay, I know we achieved that, we succeeded. Okay, let's keep going. So Chelal, the winner, she selected an appliance that she truly felt was resonating with her and all that. So she took the air fryer, and this is Wairimo, one of the judges, presenting her with her cash voucher. And yeah, so that's like basically it for the competition. She used all her energy efficient appliances in a very creative way. And yeah, she emerged the winner. So let's keep going. Now, the collaboration with food bloggers. There was a rationale as to why we ended up collaborating with Leo Tunapika and Nimoh's Kitchen. So Nimoh's Kitchen is the lady, Cyprus, you've jumped. Yes. The front 2 ladies, the one on the left is Nimoh, and she has got, okay, both of them, they are micro influencers. Now, why we wanted the micro influencers is because, first of all, they have such a loyal following. There's so much engagement around their content, and it is meaningful engagement. These small followings are really where things are at. Not that the big influencers don't have sway, but when you critically look through what the activities are on these micro influencer pages, you'll find that once they say something, their audience is very easily onboarded onto what they're saying. Then next, the quality of interaction. Like if you put out something, it's not just random replies. It is actually something that is addressing what the influencer has put out. And we felt like that was going to amplify our message. I've already worked with them as Jikoni Magic in other projects, and it was easier to onboard them like that. And also, they do sell energy efficient appliances through Jikoni Magic. So on their platforms, we're already selling. So it was going to be a very organic message when we onboarded them for the project. Okay, let's keep going. So we had a few challenges. Even though I've made it look like it was easy, we did have a few challenges. That was last year, was it? Yeah, when there was a lot of maandamano happening. It was the opposition. And you'd wake up one day, there's maandamano happening. No one can even step into town, the CBD. So this did throw us off a bit. We had to postpone the competition. On the day it was to happen, we had to postpone it. And of course, you can try and mitigate this. Ideally, in an ideal world, you can try and mitigate this by keeping on top of current affairs and the planning. Some of the scheduled activities really were late. They delayed, we took too long, and yeah. So lesson learned, next time, plan better, tighten things up, and make sure by the time one activity is ending, the other one is prepped and ready to go. And some of the equipment
Marvin,
in the midst of the competition failed, and some of the lapel mics, you're talking, they're dying, and yeah, so it's better to have extra gadgets. Lesson learned. Let's keep going. So now let's move on to impact stories. Impact stories was also part of the first component. We wanted 5 participants who would allow us into their homes so that we could see how they were actually being impacted by what they already had. Yeah, so let's keep going. So we went for a diverse group of people, same way we went for the very diverse group of people for the competition. So we decided to go with university students, and we got a lady and a gentleman, and yeah, so we recorded their videos. Still, again, check on the Pick and Power YouTube page, and we recorded them as they were cooking in their element. And there was a set of questions that we had prepared so that we could get feedback from all these people who took part in the impact stories. And we needed to have a man and a woman so that we could get different perspectives from them. People treat these two very differently in society. Yes, they are university students. That is the common angle to them. However, even the way they approached their cooking was totally different. Alice, the lady here, she already knew what she was going to make. She already knew this is what my family is going to eat and all that and all that. Now, for Timothy, when we went, he said, okay, today we're just going to cook what I find in my fridge. He opened the fridge, took out beef, tumbukiza. You see, and then also the dynamics of how they live. He was living with his brother, then Alice with her family of 4, is it 5? But it was like a whole family. So the way they approached their cooking was also very different. Yeah, no frills, just straight up, let's boil, let's finish. Alice put a bit more thought to what she was doing. Yeah, let's keep going. The second impact story that we did was Mercy. Mercy, we fashioned it as Come Dine With Me. This is on DSTV. It's a program that features amateur chefs, and yeah, usually 4 or 5, and you host people and they critique your cooking. Mercy loves to host, and we thought she was a very good candidate for this. So she cooked as she was taking us through her appliances. Mercy had an EPC, an air fryer, and an induction cooker in her home. And she told us about the way the gadgets had really made a difference in her life when it came to hosting, because it was a very convenient experience. Or yeah, it was just very convenient when hosting people. You forget, talk to your guests, and you're able to enjoy. Then we also wanted to get the perspective of a domestic worker, and we had Elizabeth, who agreed to be recorded. And we wanted to get what her perspective was once her employer brought these appliances into the home, because her employer had all the 4 that we were using in the project: the EPC, induction cooker, air fryer, and rice cooker. So we just wanted to see, how is it for you? Is it easier? Is it better? Do you appreciate that? And that is what we were able to capture here, because she was there were, back then last year, she had a toddler, and it freed her to do other things in the house as things are boiling and cooking on the side. Let's go on. Then finally we had 2 more here. We had the recently married man. This is Kevin and Kate. They invited us to their home. Kevin, we managed to sell to him an EPC, which he had been using for like a year and a half or so before he got married. And to him, it was like a life changer. And For him, ukitoka kazi, you're able to just throw your food there. He was looking to get healthier because he was beginning to add a bit of weight and it was getting to him, and he needed to just clean up his diet. And once he got married, he was able to onboard his wife, who was a bit reluctant, but you'll see that in the video. Eventually she came around, and it's like the best thing ever that she found out after getting married. And finally we had the young mother with a young family, and how it has, we just wanted to know how it has made her life easier, especially in the mornings when she needed to prep her kids. The oldest was 12 and I think the youngest was 6. So she needed to get all these kids prepared with their lunch out the door on time, and she also had to go to work. Let's go to the next one. So now we move on to the second component of the project. Remember, the first component was now to position it as something that is aspirational, which is what I have been talking about up till this point. Now, for the second part, we needed to dispel all those misperceptions that people have once they own their appliance or before they even own their appliance. We needed to show them the versatility of the appliances. We also needed to show them that hamtumii to the fullest potential. So now we go to the slides of what we actually did. So there are a lot of things that we did, and in the report that is already up on the MECS website, you can go and get more details. I've just picked on 3 that, well, I couldn't put everything here, otherwise I would be here forever. So we showed that you can actually use your yogurt setting to proof your dough if you want to make your mahamri. This is usually for yeasted dough that needs to rise and proof. So you can do that in your EPC on the yogurt setting. This is not, it doesn't heat up so much, so it won't cook your dough. It will just warm it and let it proof and rise. You can do your hard-boiled eggs in the air fryer. There's also a video on the same on Pick and Power website. You can, YouTube page, you can find it there. You just throw your eggs in there, 12 minutes, and they're hard-boiled, as you can see on the side over there. We cut it into it so that people could actually see the evidence. You can also bake scones in the rice cooker. So this was to just show that don't say niko na rice cooker and all I can do is just do rice. You can do spinach, you can do so much more with a rice cooker. Let's keep going. Then within the project, there was the aspect of coming up with a photographic hardback coffee table book that we shared with KPLC. And in this, we developed the coffee table book by using the photos and testimonies of the people who we used in the impact stories. So here I've just put like some 2 excerpts of the people who are in the impact stories. So this is still Timothy, and this is Kevin and Kate, the husband and wife duo. And these books are, the coffee table book is important because it was to be left, like when you go to see the MD, instead of just gazing around getting bored, it's something that you can take, flip through, get to see what KPLC is doing, the difference all this message is making to the people on the ground. Yeah, let's keep going. So we also must talk about the outcomes of the activities on the Pick and Power social media pages. So we picked just 2 of them because it was going to be a bit much. The rest can be found in the report that is up on the MECS website. There's Twitter. Back then it was Twitter, now it's X. And from now, what Okova, who is on the call, shared with us, there was an increase in the impressions that were there on the Twitter page for Pick and Power. So in June, there were 189,000 impressions. And by end of August, the impressions had increased to 232,000. And this could be attributed to the fact there was constant upload of things that were interesting to the people, and they were just getting educated. And then when we look at the Facebook for Pikana Power, the followers increased by 281, while the Instagram grew by 374 followers. Keep in mind that this was like a 3 month of continuous posting. So it just goes to show that if you're consistent in the things that you're posting, and that there is thought and sequence behind what you're posting, you're going to be able to grow. So this was demonstrated very well by the outcome here. Let's keep going. So the overall conclusions is that there's a lot of potential on social media if harnessed well. And it needs like a voice that comes out, like the Moses parted the Red Sea, and yeah, now let's keep going in this direction. So if there's a voice that is standing out and directing the message and the people in the right direction, it's really going to work. Because even when you do the picture that I've put here, when you go through different social media platforms, you'll find that people are still boiling. This was on Diot gadgets and cooking something recipes. Someone had posted that they have this beautiful EPC here, but what do they go ahead and do? Boil beans and stuff into their freezer like you're seeing here. And to them, that's an achievement. So these are the misperceptions that we were like, in social media, if someone can just harness those stories and just direct people in the direction that is required, then these things will be a thing of the past. And also increase of marketing and awareness raising, very targeted on social media, is going to drive the message home. And I think there's one more slide that says, thank you for listening to me. Those are the contact details if anyone wants to engage further. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to the right page. All right, yeah. So thank you so much, Agnes, for that wonderful presentation. Really, really interesting insights in there. I've seen there's someone, yeah, thank you, Tom, for that clap. Yeah, and I've also noticed that Okaka hand has been up the entire time. I think he has a really burning question. But I wanted Okova to take us through her presentation first before we ask questions. However, I'm going to not compromise. I'm going to be nice to Okaka and give him or her a chance to ask his question. Then we proceed to the next session, and then afterwards we will open it up for a question and answer session. So Okaka. You are still muted. We can't hear you. Right. So I think Okaka, it seems like he's speaking, but we can't hear him. So to save time, I'm going to give the floor to Okova now. I'd actually introduced Okova when we started, but then I'll just lift up that slide again to remind us who is going to be speaking to us. So I'm not going to read this again, but yeah, this is Okova. She's the digital communication specialist at Kenya Power. Okova, when you're ready, please take it up.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. So as Cipra's mentioned, my name is Okova Sophie from Kenya Power. So I handle the digital communication part of it, and I lead in the Pikana Power initiative at Kenya Power. So Cyprus, if you could just open the Picana Power website so that I can take people through the website, which is recently completed, but still has some work to be done.
Okay. Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, let me share that page. Okay, I think it's up. How do you want us to move?
No, it's okay. Just leave it there as I mentioned why we actually created the website and whatnot. Yeah, so the reason why we created actually the Picanapa website is to make it a centralized place where people can actually read more about Picanapa and what our initiative is all about. So basically, we want to promote the use of electricity cooking and using the equipment and just also having the recipes and information, just what's happening, even when it comes to the events for Picanapa, what's happening in the company. And just to let you know, the website didn't exist earlier. So it's recently, we created the website. So it was actually a fresh opportunity for us to engage customers, how they can interact in a more informative way, just to learn about what we're trying to do. So why the Picanapa website, again, like as I mentioned, it was more of educating customers about what we're trying to drive the initiative about cooking and the benefits and how to just and to educate people, because people have this perception that cooking electricity is expensive, and just to also show them the equipment, and we also have link to our YouTube videos on the same, so that people can learn how to use the appliances and to show them how what we actually do, like example using the energy meters to show that cooking with the githeri, for example, can be as expensive as they thought it was, or just basically boiling anything using the appliances. And again, also promoting the e-cooking solutions and to show how sustainable and affordable it is. And of course, one of the agendas is to also, it aligns with our goals, our strategic goals, which is promoting clean cooking for sustainable future. So some of the features for the website. So we have the website shows what the Picanapa is all about, and then also shows the appliances. So actually, when you click on each of the appliances, it takes you to the YouTube channel, which shows more about each of the appliances. For example, the Picanapa, the APC, the induction cooker. I can just click on one of them, stickers, just to show.
Did it take you to the page?
It takes you to the YouTube page.
I think it opened on another window. So let me just share the entire screen so that you're able to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so each of the appliances that we have on the website directs people to the YouTube page that has the appliances, and also just showing how they can be used. If you can just go back to the website.
Okay, we go back to the website. I think I lost it when we went to that page, but it's fine. So, yeah, we're back.
Yeah, so basically the website has the introductory part about what we're trying to, the initiative we're trying to drive. The first image you can see is our MD and CEO, Engineer Joseph Sirol. This was when we had an event where he came to support the initiative. You can see Wairimu, for those who are familiar with Wairimu. She's the main person who drives the initiatives for the Picanapa initiative at Kenya Power. You can just scroll down. And then you have about what the Picanapa is about, what you're trying to drive. You can just scroll as you go. I'll just stop it through. You can scroll down. And then you have some of the energy efficient appliances. And then we have a place where people can actually register. You can go down, people can actually register for the cooking demonstration classes, which usually happens at the electricity house, the Pick and Power Demonstration Center at Electricity House, which usually takes place on Tuesday and Thursday from 2 p.m. The information there is not correct. It's supposed to be from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. And then you can go down. And then one of the things we wanted to include in the website is the testimonials from people. So we took different testimonials from people who actually use their appliances, just to give their experience and the overview of their appliances and what they think about them. So of course you can see so many people thought that it's actually expensive to cook with their appliances until they used it. And then some, they didn't know how they can use certain appliances for different things. For example, most people didn't know they can actually use the EPC to cook with ugali, for example, and some of the different things which you can actually use the appliances from what is known for. And then we have the articles and resources, where we direct people to some of the articles. So we've not written some of the articles for Pick and Power. So what we've done, we've linked it to the MECS articles, which they usually talk about some of the things and events we've done. So we are here to actually create our own articles to talk about Pick and Power. Then we'll be uploading there. But for now, we've just linked it to the MECS articles on their website. You can just scroll through. Yeah, for example, the Kakamega eHub launch, which we did last year. And then we have the, scroll down. It's basically some of the articles that MECS has written in terms of how we partner together when it comes to some of the events and initiatives we've been doing. And then we have the events bit of it. So this is where we have photos and the different events that took place for Pick and Power. So we just update the photos. You can go down. Yeah, for example, we had the Pick and Power cooking competition, which Agnes took you through what was happening. And then we have the Kakamega eCooking Hub, the Pick and Power Academy, which was part of the eCAP project that we were doing. Yeah, so it's basically most of the events. So every event usually happen, we'll be putting the images there so that people can have an overview of what we've been doing. So this is yet to be updated because we've had a recent event, the clean cooking. We're yet to update it there. You can go up. Yeah, so this is basically the overview of the website, and then it also has on the bottom, it has our social media pages. And maybe I'll share, we're yet to launch the website to people because I wanted to clean it up first before we actually put it out there to our social media pages that we have at Pick and Power website. But people can share with you the link so that you can just engage with the website. And maybe if you have opinions on how we can go through or what we can change or make it better for the website, you can share and then you can have a look at it. But basically, this is how our website is. And we've linked it to our main website, the Kenya Power website. That's why you can see it has the KPLC website at the top. Yeah, so this is basically it. Maybe if you have questions, you can mention.
All right, so I'll stop sharing. Yeah, thank you, Okova, for that. So I think we'll open up the floor for questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and then you can ask. In the meantime, I'll go through the chat just to see if there are any questions for Agnes and Okova, and then I'll read those out as well. But yeah, feel free to.
Okay.
Yes, Okova, please.
It's okay. It's okay. I was just saying, I've seen John has already shared the link to the website. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, John. Okay, so on the chat, yeah, there's a question from Elizabeth. I'm not reading them in particular order, but yeah. So there's a question from Elizabeth that says, for LPG, weighing is the best method of confirming quantity. All right, so I don't think that's a question. I think it's a comment or suggestion, yeah. Yeah, there's also another comment from Elizabeth. Agnes, you started clean cooking with LPG. She has progressed, if not, frog jumped into eCooking. All right, so I don't see any questions on the chat. I'd like to give us an opportunity to ask. Yeah, Paul, you have your hand up. Please ask your question.
Thank you very much. My name is Paul Mbuthi, an enthusiast in clean cooking. I wanted to ask Agnes, and first of all, appreciate the work that is being done. But in terms of the design of these these demonstrations, I'm just wondering, after looking at all the metrics that you've talked about, in terms of checking performance of these e-cooking devices, which parameters seem to be critical in terms of, is it energy efficiency of the devices? Is it the time, cooking duration? Is it the cost? When you're evaluating the performance of these devices, what seems to be a parameter that is of a greater interest to the consumers? Because that would be useful in the design of these future, the improvements in the designs. And also in terms of impact, many consumers have bought in, for example, the EPCs, and they just stopped there. There's really a lot of need to find how more people can be sensitized on the scaling up of use of these devices, because the benefits become more real when they are able to do more things than just, for example, cooking rice. But Agnes, I just wanted you to address this question of what is the parameter that is crucial in your analysis. Thank you.
I would say the most important parameter is very contextual. It depends on whom you're addressing. There are people to who, okay, definitely the cost is important. Let me put it this way. The cost is always very important, in that how much you spend on that electricity and how much you consume in terms of kilowatt hours, although they're never really interested in the kilowatt hours. They want to know ni pesa ngapi at the end of the day. And why I was saying it's very contextual, it depends on the individual. So there are those ones who, to them, it is more of the convenience that it offers them, more than even what it's saving them. So it takes a bit of understanding who you're talking to, the audience you're addressing. So if I go talk to someone who is very busy, they work from home, they're multitasking, they're always so tied up, they would go over convenience, regardless of how much it's going to cost them. And again, for some people, it is like, I know people who, once you tell them it is clean, it has no fumes, you won't have to smell charcoal again, that sells them. But at the end of the day, bottom line is the cost, how much it's going to cost them to use that appliance.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when it comes to, okay, I hope I've answered that one very well, or comprehensively. The other one that you had mentioned was the scale up on use. So this is something that we realized very early on when we started on the clean cooking and the demonstrations. People would buy the appliances, take them home, and maybe they use them a day or two, and then that's like about it. So what we started doing was we would give them our numbers, and we would highly, highly encourage them. Call us, because we know you people cook in the evening at around 7, 8. Call us. We are going to receive your calls. We can even do WhatsApp video calls so that we cook with you. And in that way, we found that people would get very encouraged to keep using. You'd wake up in the morning and you find someone sort of, in quotes, messed up their food, and they have sent you photos. They're like, what went wrong? So you call them back and you cook together again. So in that way, we were able to inspire confidence in people, and we still do that. So for us, that one really works for the clients that we get.
All right, thank you, Agnes, for that response. Arif, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. I am Arif Talukdar. I am working from Bangladesh. Yeah, probably the context will be the different, but we have one project with one company. We are doing some digital campaign along with the physical interventions. But my questions to Chicano Magic that yeah, the online content I have seen there are lots of interventions you have done, and it's increased the awareness, impression, and increase the followers as well. But I am wondering to ask that do you just conducted the lead generation campaign, and what is your success rate during the lead generation campaign? And do you believe that our online awareness could be enough to engage the people to purchase the product? Because this product is more testable. It needs to be see, believe, and purchase. And when there has no physical task, then can online sales could be play a vital role of dissemination of electric cooking. Rather, it's more that's what we did in a the in-person intervention. Suppose our traditional way to NGO way to reach the community people. Probably I make my questions clear. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, we
Hello.
can hear you. Agnes?
Yes. You asked something about lead generation campaign. Kindly clarify that just a bit more so that I can understand you.
Okay, I am asking that you did online campaign for awareness raising and for clean cooking, right? And what is the motto? Motto is to purchase the product from the users, right, or the customer. So did you conduct any lead generation? Suppose lead generation campaigns means to engage the people who will purchase the product from the online. Yeah. So did you conducted that kinds of campaign in social media?
No, if that's what you're asking, no, this was not really geared towards lead generation that would funnel down to purchase. It was more of awareness creation and education and all that. Mm-hmm. However, I have done some that act not necessarily for this project that now are geared towards making people or just encouraging them to purchase their appliances. And now to move on to the other one where you asked about the online campaign being able to persuade people to buy. Yes, it does persuade people to buy. I have seen it happening on my page. In as much as I do not really like have it like the top of what I do, but it does help. What I do is just not necessarily to make it into a video that's already edited and all that. What I have found to be very convincing is when you do it in your stories. The updates, what are they called? The status updates on WhatsApp or whatever. So if you go to your Instagram and you decide you're doing your stories, people see you cooking. You're actually talking them through, and they can see from point A to Z what you're doing. So that one really convinces them more, as opposed to if you're doing the videos that you've already edited and they're only seeing the end product. So people sometimes tend to feel like, for you to give us this video that you've already edited, there are things you must also have edited and hid from us. But when they see you actually doing it, it's more convincing. Like if you do a live presentation, even if it's on your social media platforms. Yeah. But compared to answer your question, the other one, as opposed to an in-person meeting, I would say the in-person for now is more effective, because this person can see you, they can touch, they can taste, they can smell the food.
Thank you. No, how you have conducted the diversified way for awareness raising and engaging the people through the social media, it's most appreciable. Thank you. Thank you for your comments as well.
Welcome. Thank you.
So I'm going to scroll down one more time just to see if there's any hand that is up. And then check. Oh, there's a question from John and Maxwell. I'll start. Maxwell, at Endev, we have worked with Agnes Jikoni Magic and made some good sales. It works? Okay, so that's not a question, that's a comment. Thank you, Maxwell. From John, Dr. John is asking, do you have any figures you could share? Oh, so this is a question to Maxwell. And since Maxwell is saying they've done this work with Agnes, do you have any figures you could share in terms of sales? Yeah, Maxwell is also here. Please, Maxwell, yeah.
Yes, so we asked Agnes to use her platform to make some sales, and I think that was for about 1 month between September and October, and she did sell 30 units. We've been able to verify all those sales. So yeah, the figures are available for sharing if someone needs.
Is anything you want to add on to Maxwell's point?
I was going to say the same. Just like he said, we worked together that brief duration. And yeah, using the platform that we have, we were able to do that through live cooking demonstrations, visiting people online, and we got sales. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Maxwell. Yeah, so I wanted also to give this opportunity to my colleague John to maybe just brief us on another platform that we are currently working on. John, if you are ready, you can speak about this.
This is the innovation series?
Yes, please.
Okay. The innovation series that we're working on is also a form of digital engagement. It is targeting, rather than targeting the consumers directly, i.e. those people who directly want to adopt electric cooking, it's targeting the innovators within the sector. So that is largely the people that we see on the call here, the people that we see in the electric cooking community of practice WhatsApp group, and really trying to share some of the innovations that are happening in the sector. It's very much inspired by a similar platform that is already up and running in the e-mobility sector called Driverify. In fact, the mastermind behind this, Dave Deal, recently joined the eCooking community of practice. So we're very much wanting to take a leaf out of the e-mobility book and try and produce something which is very dynamic to capture some of the new innovations in business models, in policy, in marketing, etc., that are happening across the sector that many of us who are deeply involved with these know well. But those of us who are perhaps more peripheral or only involved with certain aspects of the sector don't necessarily get to see. So it's still very early stages. We've done a little bit of filming for a couple of pilot episodes at the repair and maintenance course in Kisumu that was run by Riyadh, and at some of the institutional electric cooking visits that have happened over the past month or so. And we will edit these together into some pilot episodes for a couple of episodes of the YouTube series. It's something that we hope will expand beyond that as well. We hope it will evolve into multi-platform engagement, bringing in new members to the community of practice and providing a new lens to go beyond the quite brief and sometimes disjointed discussions that we have on the WhatsApp group, and really dive deep into some of the exciting new innovations that are happening within the sector. So I can't say a huge lot more than that at the moment, but just stay tuned and watch this space. We will at some point start sharing some of this draft content, and would very much like your opinion as innovators on how we can create something which really adds value to the sector and enables us to document and share some of these really exciting experiences and development that each of us are involved in with our peers across the sector. Cyprios, back to you.
Thank you, John. I think there's a lot of work that we're doing. I think as a sector, there's a lot of platforms that we've put in place. eCooking CoP is one of those, even the webinar we are having today. So I think already we are embracing the digital platform and we're using it for our benefit. So overall, I think this discussion was really, really important to have, as these platforms are here with us, some of them free, some of them might cost some money to put up and set up. But overall, I think the broader objective that we can achieve using these strategic platforms is bigger than the initial setup cost and anything that can any cost that is going to be involved. So I think we need to embrace and leverage some of these platforms to accelerate our work and influence perception, just the same way Agnes had mentioned that seeing is believing, and if we are able to document this and show people using in people they can relate to, and I'm also not dispelling the fact that using influencers is wrong, but sometimes majority of us, we relate more with people whom we don't think are just doing something for payment. And so I really appreciate the fact that Agnes and the team were able to recognize this and identify people that are relatable and people that people can believe whatever they're saying. And so it's really important that we take advantage of this and see how we can influence perception and change people from the use of polluting fuels to more cleaner solutions. So I would also like to thank Okova for taking us through the Pikana Power. I think that is really a great milestone that Pikana Power is making, having their own platform where they can showcase the work they're doing. A lot of people know about the Pikana Power center at the electricity house, but then also just sharing this widely with the rest of the world is really great. And I think it's going to put your work on a at a pedestal that is really great for the impact you guys are creating. So we are really looking forward to this also getting finished and seeing what is going to come of it. So I'd like to thank you all again for coming and taking your time to listen in. I hope you've gathered some insights that are going to be useful to your various work and also the various projects that you're going to come up with. And please don't shy from using social media. There's the negative side of it, but there's also the positive side of social media. And let's take advantage of the wider community that has already been built on these platforms to accelerate our work from various sectors. So thank you. And I wish you a lovely afternoon. I think it's already an afternoon, and see you next year. This is going to be our last dialogue this year, but we are having a social e-cooking, stroke clean cooking, or a broader energy sector end of the year socials. So those of you who have been able to register, we are looking forward to seeing you on Friday. For those who are not able to register, we have another one coming up in January, and we are looking forward to having you on that one if you didn't make it to this the slots that we are having for this one that is happening on Friday. So see you and have a good afternoon.
Thank you, and same to you. Bye.
All right, bye
Thank you,
everyone.
Cyprus. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Kwaherini.
Thank you.
Thank you.